Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of Unleash Her. I'm joined here today with my amazing co-host, Michele Kline from Kline Hospitality. My name is Hanna Olivas, and I am the CEO and co-founder of She Rises Studios. And we are going to talk about why connections are worth more than gold. But before we dive in, I wanted to let everyone know that we have an amazing free virtual event today that starts at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's focusing on collaboration over competition and the importance of collaborating with other women in business, other businesses, and just really building your network. So it kind of goes in line with what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to let Michele kick us off, and we're just going to conversate for a few minutes and let you ladies and gentlemen who are watching know the importance of connections. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Hanna, for that intro. So here's the thing. We talk about connections as connections being gold. Hannah's going to walk us through some of the benefits of why connecting with people, whether it is on a personal level or on a professional level, is so incredibly important and the benefits behind it. But I want to give you the tips on how to, right? And then to start off, I'd like to share with you the definition of connecting, of truly connecting, because the reality is anyone can communicate with anyone, but only a few can really connect. And that's how you find those people that are going to be sitting in your corner. And I'd like to share with you the definition of connection as per John Maxwell, who's a guru in everything leadership. So he says that connecting is the ability to identify with people and relate to them in a way that increases your influence with them. How powerful is this, right? Because we want to make sure that when that connection is created, that we are influencing people in a positive way, so that we can start seeing some movement in the things that we want to accomplish, in the things that are going to be good for them, and so on. So the reality is, when we are trying to connect with others, we have to make sure that we comprehend what the audience looks like. What is the interest of the other person? Because we are going to have that message embedded in our brain, and we're going to have the message ready to go of what it is that we want to say. But unless we're thinking of the other person and how they are going to receive the message and how they are going to process the message and analyze the message and extract information out of the message, we're not going to be able to get through. We may be speaking the same language, we're not going to be able to get through. So it's very difficult to create those meaningful connections unless we consider a few points. So I want to share 5 different principles as to how it is that we can build those connections and start bridging the gap between simple communication and true and genuine connection. And the first one is to find the common ground. Find common ground between you and your audience, whether it is that you're on a stage at a speaking engagement, or you are facilitating training with a team of people, or you're having a simple conversation with a prospective client. Find the common ground. What are those things where you can both align so that you can get to a specific point? The second one is to keep communication simple. And we hear this all the time, where you're sitting with someone and they're telling you a specific story, or they're telling you about this particular service that they have for you, and all they're using is acronyms. How am I supposed to know what all that means? So what that's creating in me is resistance for what you're trying to tell me. Because now I feel like a fool, because I'm supposed to know what you're talking about, but I really don't know what you're talking about. And I put the spotlight on myself, like I should know this. And the reality is the opposite. This person should be making an effort to help me understand what they're trying to tell me. My third principle is to capture interest. and a very good way of capturing interest is to perhaps share stories, real life stories. So I do a lot of leadership training facilitation. And when we facilitate training, it's extremely important for us, principle number one, to know the audience and find that common ground. B, to keep the communication simple. And when I'm trying to capture my audience, I keep those two things in mind first. And I'll find stories that make sense to the people on the other side. So I could be facilitating training for a group of line level employees. And I'm going to be looking at what are those struggles or the obstacles or the challenges that they go through in a given shift. So when I'm able to tell them a story and they can relate to it, I have them on my side. So then we can move on and the rest of the message makes more sense to them. And the same apply if you are speaking with someone who could potentially get your service, right? If that's the case, you want to make sure that you use a specific real life story so that you can capture them and capture their interest. And now they feel like they can relate. And then you take the message to the finish line. For my fourth principle is inspire people. Inspire people. Look for ways to create that experience that they can take with them so that you can inspire them. And the last one is stay authentic. It is crucial to stay authentic. People want to connect with people, and I think we've said this in several of our lives here. People want to create those connections with people. So if you are trying to pretend you're someone like you're not, here's the thing. More than likely, you're not going to be able to deliver the message the right way. So for example, if I'm coaching someone, like a few days ago, I was prepping my oldest son to go on his first interview ever, job interview ever, right? And there were all these things that I was telling him to write down and list as bullets and talking points and things that were important for him to mention during that interview, especially because he has no experience. This would be his first job. But then towards the end, I explained to him, this is the structure or this is the formula, right? This is a secret sauce. However, the way you're going to be able to deliver this, it's going to depend on the success of the interview. So you can't be using the words I am using because I'm an adult, I'm a professional, and I do this for a living, right? So you are going to take these points, regroup, analyze them, and find your own way of telling the story, the way that speaks with your own voice. That is being authentic. And that is what allows you to truly connect with people. So, those are my 5 principles. I actually have a workshop that is called Everyone Communicates, Only a Few Connect, which is super powerful. And we go take a deep dive into the 5 different principles. And it's definitely helpful for anyone who's going to be on stage, anyone who's going to be doing keynotes. If you want to start bridging some gaps, if you want to communicate with your kids better, with your spouse better, with your friends, whatever that looks like. So, Hanna, what's your take?
So mine is coming from a little bit of a different direction, but all in all, they work together. So you talked about finding common ground. You talked about keeping communication simple. You talk about capturing the interest, sharing real stories, which goes to the authenticity that you spoke about. I think we have said this several times, people are not buying from the brand. They're buying from you. They're connecting to you. So if you're truthful, if you operate with integrity, if you are transparent, they are attracted to that. If they feel comfortable, then they know that they can trust you to make that connection. And that's more what we're trying to share today and teach today. We talk a lot about relationships, authenticity, collaboration over competition. And the reason being is, and I don't think she could have said it any better. This is somebody who I read a lot from. Her name is Porter Gale. And she says, your best network is your net worth. meaning all the money in the world doesn't matter if you're not making solid, fundamental, foundational connections with people. You would not be able to exist in the world without good relationships. And we can talk about this. And like Michele says, she has a course coming up. But if you do not understand how to build and keep a connection and understand the value in it, then we have to go back to the basic fundamentals of teaching that. And so another thing is, your social capital, which is your connections, are like financial capital because it is an asset. So if you're constantly growing your social capital, meaning you're building your connections, you're watering them and they're growing and they're flourishing, what is going to happen with you? Your business and your social capital are going to flourish as well. And so the point of today's topics is, let's focus on building and connecting and keeping those connections by pouring into them, by growing together, by being authentic, by being transparent. If you're looking for, like what Michele said, you need to find some common ground between you and that connection. And you do need to keep that communication simple, because if you're speaking one language, as you said, we all speak the same language, but maybe the person across from you isn't hearing what you're trying to say. So the simplistic form is always the better. When we get into a room with a bunch of people and they're throwing, what you said, acronyms, and you're just like, wait, what does that mean? Then you start to wonder, oh my gosh, am I out of my league? How does this work? No, you want to make the people that you're dealing with in life and business comfortable. You want to keep that simplistic communication open at all times. So it all ties in together. And the moral of the story is, and the moral of the way we all need to work is authentically simplify it and, share interest. And most of all, yes, be an inspiration to those who you are trying to build a connection with. Be an inspiration, period. Because you never know who is looking at you, who is looking at your brand. You never know who needs to be inspired. And so if you're always walking in that form of inspiration, in that form of gratitude, in that form of authenticity, chances are your connections are worth more than gold, and it'll continue to grow. You'll have the rainbow and the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So those are my lessons for
I
today.
always say use influential or use motivation to influence the outcome, right? Use motivation to influence the outcome. And here's the thing, walking, like you were saying, Hanna, on that glow of gratitude and that glow of inspiring others around you, or having a thoughtful word to share, is not for everyone.
Right.
Not everyone is going to react to that energy level in the same way. What's important, in my opinion, is that, like you're saying, keep that going. Keep that going, because at the end of the day, you're going to attract only the people that are cool with that. And it's something that adds value. It doesn't subtract. So why not act that way? So continue to use motivation to influence the outcome.
It's that authenticity. Truth be told, when you are building connections, you can build them anywhere. You can build them on a global level, but it's the authenticity, it's the understanding and the respect level that you're giving that person that you want to build that connection with, and vice versa. It has to be both. And so, not every single person that you want to connect with is going to be in your tribe. Let's be real. There are going to be those people that you're just wondering, like, why wouldn't you want to connect with me? It's just not meant to be. Don't take it personal, move on. There's other people out there, other businesses So don't get stuck on that one that you just absolutely have to have that connection with. They may not see you as a fit. So you can't take it personal, but always be transparent, be thankful, be authentic, and keep the momentum going. So
I love what you're saying. I love what you're saying. I'm going to share with you a quick story because it's exactly what you're saying, and it plays both ways.
mhm,
Because not everybody is willing to really try to get to know you, right? To
mhm,
genuinely try to get to know you and to be able to see past certain things. So I had a work colleague who he was actually a client of a client of mine, and he was very clearly not authentic. And I knew there was something else in there. I knew there was something else in his soul, in his heart, in everything. And he had an incredible background, incredible background. So I figured if I truly show interest in his career so far, maybe that's a way where we can break this barrier and he can become more authentic when he's around me. And we can build that connection instead of just communicating. And I did, and I worked really hard on getting to know him better, and eventually we stopped the work relationship, but to this day we're still friends,
mm,
great
that's
friends.
awesome.
And I was able to pierce through that shield that he was setting up in front of him that wasn't allowing him to be authentic. And then I spoke with other peers from those days, and they're like, oh, no way. I'm like, I had a great conversation, and you should totally make time to meet him. And yeah, it's super interesting.
I think it's, yeah, if you definitely have to put the time in. You can't just expect people to like you, to want to work with you. You have to put time in. And some people are, we use this phrase all the time, onions, one layer at a time, but there are some people where no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, they don't see you as a fit. But those that do, those that you put that extra time, pour that extra time, sometimes they're looking for trust, to be able to
Yeah.
trust you. Some people are not as easily to give the trust factor. Trust in business is huge. If you can't trust the people you do business with, then who can you trust? That's your livelihood. That affects you financially. So the connection requires trust building. And how do you build trust over time? You can't just pick up a phone and say, hey, I want to work with you and I'm great. And you just have to believe what I'm saying. You actually have to show and put forth the effort and the work, and build that foundation. And it's like, I've been saying this for 3 weeks. All good things take time. All good things take time. Nothing happens overnight, you know. So when you're making these connections and they are worth more than gold, trust me when I tell you, when those connections are established and they're in full force, that's when you can pick up the phone and say, hey, I need a favor. I have this idea and you're the only person I know who can help make it happen. And trust me, those connections are worth more than gold. I just used one. So it's true. It happens. So
I
I think we've covered a lot today. What do you think?
yes, I agree.
Is there anything else you wanted to leave with our audience today?
No, maybe that we may see this topic come up again on the Unleash Her retreat a few months from now. So we'll
That would
see.
be awesome. Yeah, we're so excited. So for those of you who don't know, we have our next brand, which is Unleash Her. So we have an incredible book that is going to be coming out in September, on September 13th, 2022. We have the Unleash Her retreat that happens in October. We are still looking for some incredible authors. This book is like no other that we've put out. And we're looking for amazing, powerful women who are ready to share how they unleashed their power, how they got from where they were to where they are today. And with the retreat, I mean, the retreat speaks for itself. Unleash Her. You can only imagine all the amazing things that are going to be happening there. So if you are interested, please reach out to myself or to Michele and let us know, because we are still looking to fill some spots in the book and we have a few spots left in the retreat. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And if you have time, come on over to our 12 p.m. event today. It's virtual. It's all over our Facebook pages. Collaboration over competition. You will see Michele next week and myself here Tuesday, 8:30 a.m.
Bye,
Have a
everyone.
happy Bye, everyone.